Good morning, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, and in today's video we're going to be talking about owning the beautiful 2013 Yamaha R1 for 6 months. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea and let us get into the video. So ladies and gents, how are we all doing? I hope you're doing well. And as the title of the video suggests, we are discussing what it's like owning a 2013 Yamaha R1 6 months on. So where shall we begin? First of all, I just have to say that I am still massively in love with the R1. And unfortunately, because I'm so in love with the R1 right now, the Duke isn't really getting much of a look in right now. But don't worry, dear friends, the Duke will be coming out to play soon enough, so please don't worry. I have not sold her, she's not broken down, I haven't crashed it, she's just convalescing at home trying to keep the mileage down. But anyway, let us discuss the 2013 R1. Now, as you guys know, I've had it since probably about the 15th, 20th of January, something like that. So it's been about 6 months now, and I feel it is my duty to give you guys an honest review with regards to how I've been dealing with it. Have I enjoyed riding it? Have I not enjoyed riding it? And more. So first things first, let's discuss the negatives. And I'll be honest, there's not many. My first negative would have to be how hot the seat gets. Now bearing in mind, I know she's a 1000cc superbike and she's got underseat exhaust and stuff like that, and getting a hot bum is part and parcel of owning said superbike. Ah, sausage doggies. As I was saying, having a 1000cc superbike with underseat exhaust, getting a hot bum is pretty much part and parcel of owning it. However, the other minor gripe that I have with the R1 is that I wish it was just a little bit louder, and the reason for that is bridge, way. No, sorry, that's not the reason for it. The reason I wish it was a little bit louder is because I've had guys at my work who ride MT-07s, and they have just recently removed the baffles from their exhausts, and they sound fucking amazing. And I feel like I need to get the R1 decatted to give her that bit more road presence, just like those MTs do. So that's really my only two major gripes with the R1 right now, which I know most of it can be sorted out myself, so I'm not that fussed. Now on to the positives, and ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot. The first positive being the looks. I absolutely think she's stunning. I love the look of this Shape R1, I always have done, and I've said it in numerous videos in the past that this generation R1 for me, it complements my 1098 so well. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, okay, the new Shape R1s have a lot more technology, and yes, the cross-plane crank motor does sound a little bit different compared to this one, but in, you know, wholehearted honesty, I couldn't afford a new Shape R1. The insurance was too much, the theft risk was too high, and I'd just rather not, you know, be riding around with a target on my back all the time. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this Shape R1, it's angular, it's aggressive, it looks menacing, it sounds menacing. I love the cross-plane crank burble, I love the pops and bangs that I get on the overrun. You know, it just ticks a lot of boxes for me. I don't even have to ride her hard to get the pops and bangs. I mean, listen, that's at 3,500 RPM in first gear with hardly no throttle. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly the same like it is with my 1098. I've discovered that I don't have to ride the bike hard to enjoy it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like riding fast, but I do truly think that riding to the very edge of your capabilities on the road is a bit mad. And I'm in no way You know, I'm not Valentino Rossi, I'm not Troy Bayliss, I'm not Jonathan Ray, I'm not Marc Marquez. You know, I'm a 37-year-old bloke from South London who just likes superbikes. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I digress. So in continuing the positivity of the R1, it's probably the most mechanically sound bike I've ever owned. Okay, fine, there are some consumables that will need replacing quite soon, i.e. the brake pads and the chain and sprockets. I believe they're, you know, they've probably got about 10,000 miles on the chain and sprockets, and the pads are probably about 18 months old or so. And the harder I'm riding, the harder I'm starting to find out I need to actually use the brakes. And in some cases, even with the installation of the new Moto brake lines that I did a couple of weeks back, I'm still finding I'm having to squeeze the lever quite hard. I really don't have a lot of negatives to say about the R1. Okay, like I said, admittedly, I was nervous about riding her in the standard mode or A mode, and I still am really nervous about riding her in A mode. But that doesn't mean to say that I won't ride her in A mode at some point in the near future. Another R1 saying hello to me. I like it a lot. I don't know why you'd have a pillion with an open face on and carrying a coffee, but there you go. There's far more positives to this bike than there are negatives, in my opinion. Okay, fine, I've not ridden her to the edge of her capabilities, and even a bike of this generation with no traction control, wheelie control, slide control, or any of that kind of business, I don't think I will ever ride the bike to its fullest potential, ever. I've got to a point in my life where I don't need to ride a bike at 100% everywhere all the time. You know, don't get me wrong, I love my bikes, you know, the 1098 and this and any other bike that I've ever owned. I've always loved them, and I've treated them with the respect that they deserve. It's like people will turn around and say, why are you riding a 1000cc super bike to your place of business, or why are you using a 1000cc super bike to commute on? Well, one, why not, and two, who you tell me what to ride? Do you know what I mean? I've got absolutely no problem with people making suggestions about what I could get or what I couldn't get, but at the end of the day, I chose the old one, like it or lump it. And unfortunately, I have to lump it for the moment because there's a police car in front of me. But anyway, continuing the positive points of the R1. Okay, fine, she's one of the older generation R1s, in terms of she hasn't got the LED facelift, or she hasn't got a quick shifter or an auto blipper or any of that kind of bollocks. But on the whole, I do think she could hang with the best of them. For example, one of my mates has recently got himself a 2021 or 22 MT-09, and this stuck with it, and if anything, absolutely obliterated it in a rolling race that we did a couple of weeks back down a private road. And once we got past, say, 120-ish, 130-ish, you know, she just pulled away and just kept going and going and going. It was like watching an episode of Star Trek, you know, when the Starship Enterprise goes into warp 9, all of a sudden it's just a fucking blur. And again, this just goes back to what I'm saying about the R1 being a bike you can ride at 100% all the time, or you can basically back it off and ride at 70-80% but still enjoy yourself. For example, okay, fine, I'm not going to be hitting those kind of speeds anything like today, but I can still ride the bike not to its limit, shall we say, but very much to a point of I'm enjoying it. I don't have to ride hard or fast. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could quite easily roll around at 25-30 mile an hour in first gear and not give a shit. And this kind of harks back to the video that Baron von Grumble did a few weeks ago about how older bikes can and sometimes are better than newer ones. It's personal opinion, do you know what I mean, ladies and gents? I'm not going to turn around and say to you guys, oh no, you can't be riding this, you can't be riding that, you've got to get this, you've got to get that, and blah 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 blah, because that's not the case. If you want to ride a 1000cc superbike as a commuter, fine, you do you. If you want to ride a 50cc moped everywhere and anywhere, again, you do you. But for me, sports bikes are just for me, do you know what I mean? I mean, okay, fine, I am getting on a bit in terms of age, and I am nearly, you know, a couple of years away from being 40. But that's not going to stop me from riding sports bikes, do you know what I mean? And again, that brings me back to another good point with the R1. She is so comfortable. I have absolutely no problem with this. I could sit in the saddle for 7, 8, 9 hours if I had to, and I would still be comfortable. I could quite happily sit in the saddle for a good 7 or 8 hours doing a track day or doing a road trip or riding down to the coast or just generally being an absolute tit for the day, and the R1 can do it. I mean, the Duke can do it as well to a degree, but nowhere near as comfortably as how this does it. Don't know what this idiot's doing. You can't turn right there, boss. There's no right turn for you. It says buses only. But anyway, I digress. As far as the R1 goes, I can't really fault it. There have been times where I wished I'd had a bit more power. There are times that I wish that I had a bit more noise. At the end of the day, you know, it is what it is. She's almost a 10-year-old bike, and not taking anything away from her, that's literally the only things I would change. I would literally look at getting a quick shifter, an auto blipper, and maybe upgrading the loom to accommodate traction control. But that is literally it. I wouldn't bother with anything else. I like the dual underseat exhausts. I like the big 6-pot calipers. I like the cross plane crank motor. I love the fact that she just sounds angry. Even at tick over, she sounds absolutely evil. And okay, the Duke does sound really nice as well. Not so much at tick over, but when you're up there in the revs, she sounds lovely. But the R1 is just a completely different animal, and I love it. I love the fact that it's so different. And I never thought I would see the day that I would actually end up with an R1, you know, through financial situations or family problems or work related issues or whatever it was that was going on at the time for me. I never thought I would get an R1, whether it be this shape, a new shape, or the old pre-Big Bang R shape. I never thought I would actually see myself on one of these. The fact that I now have the R1, and I'm loving it as much as I thought I would, it makes the purchase even more gratifying. Well, to me it does anyway. And like I said, okay, she's not as loud and she's not as brash as the Duke, but with a few tweaks here and there, that can all be changed. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I got this before I got the Duke. But you know, what can you do? You know, I can't fault the R1. The styling is on point, the noise is on point, the power is on point. You know, the seat height and the comfortability is on point. The only thing I probably am going to change next is probably these grips, and get some either Renthal or some Domino grips, depending on how much money I've got at the end of the month, obviously. But definitely going to change these grips. I don't need to change the bars. The bars are set up quite nicely for me. I like the Evotech or Litech levers, or whatever the fuck these things are. I can't remember. But either way, I like the levers that are on the bike at the moment. I am still toying with whether or not I am going to get rid of my mirrors altogether and run mirror blanking plates. I'm still toying with that idea. A lot of people that own this shape R1 say that the bike handles and rides a lot differently with no mirrors. How true that is, I don't know. But this is fucking boring me. Enough of this. Bore me to fucking tears, I swear to God. And again, that's another one of the great things I love about the R1. She doesn't spin up anywhere near as much as I thought she would, and she's just an absolute joy to ride. Like I said, I could ride her really slowly, or I could ride her, you know, balls to the wall, and she's just compliant. She does what she's told. I know I could do with having the suspension set up again properly, because I know I did the Dave Moss tuning remote service that he provides, and yes, okay, it works, but I do think there's a few tweaks that could be done. And I do know that the R1 could benefit from some stiffer fork springs, I think it is. But all in good time. All in good time, my friends. So on the whole, what do I think of the R1 in the 6 months that I've owned her? I love it. I love the R1. Okay, she's not the most powerful thing on the road. Okay, she's not the most beautiful looking thing on the road. Well, I think she is. But there's bound to be someone somewhere that disagrees with that statement. And, you know, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm not going to argue. But for me personally, one of the best looking 1000cc superbikes made out of Japan has to be this generation of R1. And like I said, that's just my personal opinion. So as anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you've got any questions about the gear I use or the bikes that I ride, feel free to put it in the comments box down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you are subscribed, don't forget to smash the like button and ring the bell so you're kept up to date with all new content when it drops. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It'd be great to have you on board. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you have been awesome. I have been Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, saying look after yourselves, look after each other, stay safe on the roads, be aware of COVID-19, be safe, be happy, and as always, my dear friends, adios.